You have walked into 1,000 rooms in your life, and in 900 of them, you were invisible. You enter with a slight tilt in your head, a quick scan for a safe corner, and a nervous energy that screams you are seeking permission to exist. You think you're being polite or respectful. In reality, you are broadcasting a frequency of insignificance that every predator and peer in the room picks up on instantly. By the time you open your mouth to speak, the hierarchy has already been decided, and you are at the bottom. Presence is not a personality trait. It is a biological signal. Most people spend their lives trying to earn respect through conversation, favors, or social climbing. They are fighting a losing battle because they've already lost the silent war of the first 5 seconds. They don't realize that the most powerful person in the room is often the one who hasn't said a word, yet their silence feels like a physical weight. Think about the last time you saw someone enter a space and the atmosphere shifted. No shouting, no grand entrance, just a cold, undeniable gravity that forced everyone to look up. You've always wondered what they have that you don't. You think it's money, or looks, or luck. It's none of those. It is the command of space. If you are tired of being the person who has to work twice as hard just to be noticed, then you are ready to stop playing by the rules of the weak. Today we are conducting a clinical audit of your non-verbal frequency. We are going to strip away the low-status habits you've been using as a shield and replace them with the Machiavellian mechanics of presence. This video is not about confidence or body language tips found in generic self-help manuals. We are conducting a forensic audit of silent dominance. We are going to strip away the desperate habits that make you invisible and replace them with the clinical, Machiavellian mechanics of the Enigma protocol. We are going to explore how to weaponize your stillness, how to master the auditor's stare, and why your most powerful move is the one you never make. If you are tired of being the person who fills the room without ever being felt, pay close attention. You enter a room, and your first instinct is to scan for safety. You look for a familiar face to cling to, or a corner where you can hide behind your phone. You think you're being polite or low profile, but you are actually broadcasting a state of emergency. Your eyes are darting, your shoulders are tight, and your feet are already positioned for an exit. You are signaling to the collective subconscious of the room that you are an interloper, someone who is lucky to be there, rather than someone who owns the ground they stand on. This is the supplicant's entry. In the Machiavellian hierarchy, the person who moves the most is the person with the least power. High-status predators in any environment, whether it's a boardroom, a bar, or a family gathering, move with a chilling economy of motion. They don't fidget. They don't adjust their clothes every 10 seconds. They don't nod frantically to show they are listening. They understand that every unnecessary movement is a leak of authority. They enter a space and they claim the air. Image a high-contrast shot of a predator, like a lion or a wolf, moving slowly through tall grass, not looking for approval, but scanning for territory. Think about the last time you walked into a meeting or a party. Did you immediately try to fill the silence with a joke or a greeting? That wasn't friendliness, it was a defense mechanism. You were trying to relieve the tension you felt. But real presence is built by holding that tension. When you walk into a room, your goal is not to be liked, it is to be reckoned with. You do this by slowing your pace to a deliberate rhythmic stride. You do this by keeping your head still and your gaze level. You aren't looking at people, you are looking through the environment. You must realize that silence is a vacuum. Most people are terrified of it, so they rush to fill it with nervous chatter and submissive body language. When you refuse to fill that vacuum, you force everyone else in the room to do it for you. They will start talking more to impress you. They will adjust their posture to align with yours. They will subconsciously wait for your permission to continue. By simply occupying space without apologizing for it, you have effectively reset the hierarchy. You aren't ignoring people, you are existing at a frequency that demands they acknowledge you first. While everyone else is looking for a distraction, you are looking for intelligence. Most people make eye contact to seek connection. You make eye contact to establish observation. The auditor's stare is not about being creepy or aggressive. It is about being clinical. When you look at someone, you aren't looking for their smile or their approval. You are looking for their cracks. Image, a close-up of a human eye with the iris appearing like a camera lens, zooming in and out with mechanical precision. You've been trained to look away first. You think it's respectful. It's actually a submission signal. From this moment on, when you lock eyes with someone as you enter a space, you do not break the gaze until you have finished the audit. You hold the look just 1 second longer than is comfortable. In that extra second, the power dynamic is settled. You have signaled that you are not afraid of what they might see in you, but you are very interested in what you might see in them. Think about the coworker who always talks over you, or the friend who makes subtle jabs at your expense. They do this because they've scanned you and found a responsive target. They know you'll react, blush, or look down. But imagine the next time they speak, you simply stop moving. You turn your entire body toward them, not just your head, and you look at them in total silence for 3 full seconds before responding. That silence is the auditor's stare. It tells them that their tricks haven't worked. It tells them that you are currently measuring their insignificance. This is how you make your presence felt, without a word. You become a mirror. If they are loud and chaotic, your stillness makes them look foolish. If they are trying to be dominant, your lack of reaction makes them look desperate. You aren't fighting them for the spotlight. You are the one holding the spotlight. When you master the art of the clinical gaze, you stop being someone people talk to and start being someone people report to. You have moved from the social ghost who blends into the wallpaper to the sovereign who defines the tone of the entire room. You have claimed the air. You have established the gaze. You have forced the room to feel the weight of your silence. But being noticed is only the first layer of the strike. There is a way to move through a crowd that makes people move out of your way without you ever having to say, "Excuse me." There is a specific physical frequency that triggers a predator-prey response in the human brain. Most people are walking targets because of how they carry their weight and how they manage their perimeter. In the next part, we are going to dive into the physics of dominance. I am going to show you how to weaponize your gait and why your shoulders are the most honest part of your body. You are about to learn how to make your physical presence so imposing that the room doesn't just feel you, it reacts to you like a force of nature. Most people walk like they are apologizing for the floor space they occupy. You've seen them. Maybe you are them. They take small, rapid steps, their weight shifted forward as if they are in a perpetual rush to get out of everyone's way. Their shoulders are hunched, protecting their vitals, and their arms are pinned to their sides or nervously clutching a bag. This is the gait of the prey. It signals to every nervous system in the room that you are high stress and low status. You aren't moving through the room, you are navigating around it. To have presence, you must master the physics of dominance. This starts with your center of gravity. Stop walking with your chest, start walking with your hips. When you lead from your core, your stride naturally lengthens and slows down. Slowing down is the ultimate status symbol. It says you are the owner of your time, and you don't fear the judgment of the clock or the crowd. While everyone else is scurrying like rats in a maze, you move with the heavy, deliberate pace of the man who built the maze. Look at your shoulders. If they are up near your ears, you are broadcasting a startled response to the entire room. You look like you're waiting for a blow to land. A person of consequence keeps their shoulders down and back, creating a broad, open V shape. This isn't about looking like a bodybuilder, it's about exposing your throat and chest, the most vulnerable parts of your body. It is a biological dare. It tells the room, I am so secure in my dominance that I don't feel the need to protect myself from you. When you walk with an open frame and a controlled, rhythmic pace, people don't just see you, they feel a physical compulsion to move out of your path. There is an invisible bubble around every human being, and yours is currently being violated. Because you lack presence, people stand too close to you in line. They bump into you in hallways without saying, "Excuse me," and they reach into your personal space to grab things without a second thought. They do this because your energy is retracted. You are huddling inside yourself, and the world is simply filling the gap you left behind. Image showing the 4 zones of personal space: intimate, personal, social, and public. The law of the perimeter dictates that you must push your energy outward before you even move. Think of it as a physical heat radiating from your skin. When you enter a room, you don't just occupy the 6 inches of floor your feet are touching. You occupy every inch of the 3-foot radius around you. You do this by claiming physical objects. You don't sit on the edge of the chair, you sit deep in it and use the armrests. You don't keep your hands folded in your lap like a schoolchild. You spread them out. You take up the space you were given, plus 10%. Consider the person who interrupts you or leans over your desk while you're working. They are testing your perimeter. Most people react by leaning back, a classic submission move. From now on, when someone invades your space, you do the opposite. You stay exactly where you are, or you lean slightly forward into their space. You maintain your territory with total indifference. By refusing to shrink, you force them to realize they've hit a wall. You aren't being aggressive. You are being immovable. This isn't just about physical space. It's about atmospheric control. When you respect your own perimeter, the room begins to respect it too. You start to notice that people give you a wider berth in the hallway. They wait for you to finish your movement before they start theirs. They stop treating you like an obstacle and start treating you like an anchor. You are no longer a guest in the room. You are a permanent fixture that the room must accommodate. You've fixed the gate. You've claimed the perimeter. You've turned your body into a broadcast tower of silent authority. But physical presence is only half the battle. If your eyes are shouting while your body is silent, the illusion breaks. There is a specific way to use your sight that doesn't just observe the room, but actually governs it. You have been trained to look at people the moment they speak to you. You think it's a sign of active listening or respect. In reality, it is a submission reflex. When you whip your head around the second someone says your name or asks a question, you are telling them that their voice is the most important thing in the room. You are reacting to their timeline. You are a servant responding to a bell. To dominate a room, you must implement the secondary scan. This is the tactical delay of your attention. When someone addresses you, do not move your head immediately. Continue what you are doing for a fraction of a second. Finish your sip of water, finish your sentence, finish your thought. Then, and only then, do you slowly turn your gaze toward them. This creates a power gap. It forces the other person to wait for your acknowledgement. In that silence, they begin to question the importance of what they were about to say. You haven't said a word, but you've already signaled that your time is more valuable than their interruption. Once you lock eyes, do not look away. Most people engage in a nervous flutter. They look at the eyes, then the mouth, then the floor. They are searching for a social exit. You are going to do the opposite. You are going to perform a clinical audit of their face. You look at their eyes, then shift your gaze to their forehead, then back to the eyes. This is the triangular audit. It is a gaze used by interrogators and predators. It signals that you are not just hearing them, you are analyzing them. It makes people feel exposed, and in that state of exposure, they will naturally try to fill the void by revealing more than they intended. Think about the last time someone tried to intimidate you or put you in your place with a sharp comment or a condescending look. Your heart rate spiked, your eyes widened, and you probably blinked rapidly or looked down. You gave them exactly what they wanted, a startle response. You confirmed that their status is higher than yours because they were able to move your internal needle. The unfazed gaze is your psychological armor. It is the ability to witness chaos, disrespect or aggression without your pupils dilating or your eyelids fluttering. When someone tries to bait you, you look at them with the same level of interest you'd give a piece of furniture. You don't get angry. Anger is a reaction. You don't get scared. Fear is a reaction. You remain entirely neutral. Imagine you're in a meeting and a superior tries to humiliate you in front of the group. The room goes quiet, waiting for your defense. Instead of defending, you simply lean back, maintain a steady, unblinking gaze, and wait. You let the silence sit until it becomes heavy. You are showing the room that their attack didn't even register as a threat. You are essentially telling them, "You don't have enough weight to move me." This lack of reaction is the most terrifying thing you can do to a manipulator. They thrive on feedback. When you deny them that feedback, they lose their center of gravity. They will start to stumble over their words. They will try to explain their joke or their comment. They will shrink because your stillness has made them look like a child throwing a tantrum. You aren't ignoring the disrespect. You are absorbing it and neutralizing it through the sheer force of your composure. Your eyes are the gatekeepers of your power. If they cannot see your fear, they cannot believe in their own dominance. You have mastered the physical stride and the clinical gaze. You are moving through the world like a shadow that demands light. People are starting to feel the pressure of your presence before you even reach their desk. But presence is not just about how you move and how you look. It's about the acoustics of authority. Most people destroy their presence the second they open their mouth. They talk too fast. They use upspeak that makes every statement sound like a question, and they fill the air with and ah because they are terrified of a second of silence. In the next part, we are going to dive into the vocal anchor. I am going to show you how to speak from your chest, not your throat, and why your most powerful sentence is actually a pause. You are about to learn how to make your words carry the weight of a command, even when you're just ordering a coffee. You have mastered the walk and the gaze, but the moment you open your mouth, you are likely handing your power back to the room. Listen to yourself. When you are nervous, your voice climbs into your throat. It becomes thin, airy, and frantic. You start up speaking, ending every sentence on a high note, like you're asking for permission to be heard. You are literally begging the listener to validate your statement. You have a habit of rushing your words because, deep down, you don't believe people want to listen to you. You feel the pressure of the social clock, and you're terrified that if you don't spit your thoughts out as fast as possible, you'll be interrupted or ignored. You use upspeak, turning your statements into questions, essentially begging for validation at the end of every sentence. You are polluting the air with like, and creating a layer of static that screams one thing: insecurity. To have presence, you must ground your voice in the vocal anchor. High-status individuals do not speak from the throat. They speak from the diaphragm. When you speak from your throat, your pitch rises under stress, making you sound like a child pleading with an adult. When you speak from your chest, your voice carries a resonant sub-bass frequency that physically vibrates in the listener's ear. This isn't about acting like a tough guy, it's about biological authority. A deeper, slower, and more resonant tone is universally interpreted as the voice of a protector or a predator. Stop trying to be interesting and start being impactful. This begins with the period. Most people talk in run-on sentences because they are afraid of the silence that comes when they stop. They bridge their sentences with filler words to keep the floor. You are going to do the opposite. You will speak in short, declarative bursts. When you reach the end of a thought, you will stop. You will let the period land like a gavel. You will not add right, or does that make sense? You will hold the silence and force the other person to process the weight of what you just said. Think about the last time you were asked a difficult question or faced with a confrontation. You likely felt a frantic need to answer immediately to save face. That speed is your greatest weakness. When you answer instantly, you are reacting. You are a secondary character in their script. The strategic pause is how you reclaim the lead. When someone asks you a question, you are going to count to 3 in your head before you say a single word. You will maintain eye contact during those 3 seconds. This pause does 2 things. It tells the other person that you are not intimidated by them, and it makes your eventual answer feel like a deliberate decree rather than a nervous reaction. The person who can sit comfortably in silence for 3 seconds after being challenged is the person who owns the room. In daily life, this looks like the delayed acknowledgement. Someone tries to rush you or demand your attention. Instead of jumping to serve them, you continue your current movement. Pause, look at them, pause again, and then deliver a low-frequency, short response. You are essentially training the world to operate on your tempo. You are signaling that you are the metronome of the environment. Everyone else must synchronize their timing to yours. This is the acoustics of authority. When you combine the physical stillness of your frame with the resonant paused delivery of your voice, you create a psychological gravity. People will find themselves leaning in to hear you. They will stop interrupting you because the weight of your presence makes interruption feel like a sacrilege. You aren't shouting for attention. You are making your attention the most valuable resource in the room. You have mastered the walk, the gaze, and the voice. You have turned your body and your breath into a weapon of silent influence. But there is one final layer, the most dangerous one. It is the social cloak you wear when the world expects you to be one of them. Most people try to fit in by matching the energy of the room. If the room is loud, they get loud. If the room is gossiping, they join in. They are chameleons, and chameleons are never leaders. You have spent your life lingering. When a conversation ends, you stay an extra 10 seconds because you're afraid of being rude. When you leave a party or a meeting, you do the rounds, giving out weak handshakes and desperate smiles, making sure everyone knows you're going so they have one last chance to validate you. You think you're being social. You are actually being a ghost haunting your own exit. You are making your departure a negotiation rather than a fact. The decisive withdrawal is the final signature of a high-status presence. In the Machiavellian world, your exit defines your value. If you linger, you become part of the furniture. If you vanish at the peak of your presence, you become a legend. You must learn to leave a room while you are still the most interesting person in it. You don't wait for the energy to die, you take the energy with you. When it is time to go, you do not announce it. You do not ask, "Is it okay if I head out?" You don't offer a list of excuses about why you have to leave. You simply stand up, offer a single dry nod to the person of highest consequence, and walk. No looking back. No checking the room to see who is watching you leave. Your back should communicate as much authority as your face. By leaving without the traditional social dance, you create a sudden drop in the room's psychological pressure. People will feel your absence like a physical weight. They are left with the unresolved mystery of your departure, which ensures they will be talking about you the moment the door closes. You have been a social open-source project. Anyone can read your mood, anyone can predict your reaction, and anyone can guess your next move. You are nice, you are reliable, and you are consistent. To the world, this makes you a tool. To a manipulator, this makes you a victim. Presence is not built on being known, it is built on being unfathomable. To seal your presence, you must adopt the Enigma protocol. This means you stop sharing your internal data. When someone asks how your weekend was, you don't give them a play-by-play. You give them a short, neutral summary. It was productive. When they ask for your opinion on a controversial topic, you don't take a side to fit in. You offer a clinical observation and then fall back into silence. You are creating a data blackout. Think about the people you are most intrigued by. It isn't the person who tells you their life story in the first 5 minutes. It's the person who sits in the corner, observes everything, says 3 meaningful things the entire night, and then leaves. You wonder what they're thinking. You wonder what their plan is. You project power onto them because they haven't given you any evidence of weakness. By being unriddable, you force everyone else to perform for you. They will try to fill your silence with their secrets. They will try to win your approval because it is the only thing in the room they cannot buy or bait. You have spent years treating your social existence as an apology. You have walked into rooms hoping to be accepted, speaking to be liked and moving to be ignored. You have been a ghost in your own life, leaking authority through every nervous twitch and every desperate explanation. Today, that cycle of submission has been surgically dismantled. You now possess the mechanics of a sovereign. You understand that true presence isn't about the noise you make, but the space you command and the silence you weaponize. The truth most people will never admit is that the world is a hierarchy of perception. People do not treat you based on your resume or your good intentions. They treat you based on the frequency you broadcast the moment you cross the threshold. If you enter with the supplicant's entry, they will treat you like a servant. If you enter with the Enigma protocol, they will treat you like a master. You are no longer allowed to claim ignorance. You have seen the blueprints. You know how the auditor's stare dismantles a manipulator's ego. You know how the vocal anchor anchors the room to your timeline. From this second forward, every time you fidget, every time you upspeak, and every time you rush an exit, you are making a conscious choice to be weak. This is not a self-improvement lesson you can tuck away for a rainy day. This is a behavioral recoding. The next time you walk into a room, the pressure you feel won't be from the eyes of others. It will be from the realization that you are now the observer. You are the one conducting the audit. You are the one who decides when the silence ends. If this shift in perspective feels uncomfortable, it's because your old submissive identity is dying. Let it die. It never served you anyway. If you recognize the weight of these truths, if you are ready to stop being a social casualty and start being a clinical force, then align yourself with this mission, like the video, and subscribe to the channel. This isn't a favor, it's a signature of intent. It ensures that this frequency remains your primary source of intelligence. It is how you stay sharp in a world that thrives on your distraction. For the few who demand more than just awareness, those who want the exact high-stakes maneuvers that cannot be broadcast to the masses, the inner circle is waiting. This is our private enclave. It is where we strip away the remaining layers of social conditioning and master the dark mechanics of status and control. While the crowd remains on the outside, guessing at the rules of the game, the members are the ones writing them. If you want access to the tactical depth and the collective leverage that only the inner circle provides, join us. If you aren't ready for that level of sovereignty, stay where you are. The hierarchy requires a base, and most are content to remain there. Thank you for the discipline of your time. You have stayed until the end because you have a hunger for leverage that most people lack. You have earned this insight through your focus. Do not waste it by returning to your old habits the moment the screen goes dark. The audit is over. The room is waiting. Walk in, say nothing, and let them feel the person you have become. The air belongs to you. Hold it. I will see you in the next video.